Okay, so today we are going to do a little bit of GitHub, basically how to write the basic commands on GitHub and how to use GitHub in an optimized manner. Some of the best practices, naming conventions, and some of the common errors that people commit and whatnot. So I'm going to display all of that on Visual Studio today. So no IntelliJ, um, no IntelliJ or no Android Studio, but let's use a little bit of VS Code. So first and foremost, I think what we need to do is to basically create a folder here. So we'll create that folder by the name of GitHub underscore video recording, or just GitHub video. That's more than enough. And now we will go to our GitHub repo. Okay, that is my prototype. I was building a web page. So let's go to our GitHub repo. So my username, it should automatically pick up, is tunnel view. And I do not want the travel blog design. I just want the tunnel view GitHub page. So let's see if it takes me to tunnel view. There you go. All right, so this is my GitHub page, and as you can see, I've got a couple of repositories here. This is a snapshot of all the contributions that I've made last year, and a couple of contributions on a regular basis starting the 19th of January. And this is a history of all the other activities that has actually happened on my GitHub. So I highly recommend and suggest, especially for those who are starting off new, to keep it as green as possible. And by that I mean not just committing for the sake of committing, but committing in a structured manner that really shows the change of code and writing code in a progressive fashion. Let's just have a look at the repositories that I have so far. I've got the developer portfolio, I've got the tunnel view, and I've got the JavaScript basic, parallax basic, CSS positions. And if anybody wants to follow me on GitHub, please feel free to do that. I will be uploading a lot of Android modules and Android projects on GitHub too. However, for now, for the sake of recording, let's just go ahead and create a new repository. So how do you create a new repository? This is how you create a new repository. You've got the menu bar right on top, and just next to your photograph, along with that drop down sign that you have a plus sign here, which again has a drop down menu. And then you have the first option, which is new repository. So you click on new repository, and then it takes you to this page. Okay, so for the sake of this recording, or for the purpose of this recording, I'm going to name this repository as GitHub recording repo, or just GitHub recording is more than enough. And if it shows a green tick here, that basically means that name that you want to give it to your repository is accepted. Public and private, what is the difference? If it is public, anybody can see it. If it is private, then only the people you choose can see this particular repository. Initialize this repository with all these files. I can do another session about these files at a later stage, but for now you can just go ahead and click on create repository. So you click on create repository, and then it takes you to this page We missed out on description. Description is not needed. I want to keep this video as short as possible so that you get the gist of it, and rest everything else. If you have any questions or you want to understand anything in particular, please feel free to put it out in the comments section, and then I'll be more than happy to answer all of that. So when you click on create repository, GitHub automatically takes you to this code. We will review this code in a while, but let's just go to our Visual Studio for now. So where is my Visual Studio? This is my Android. This is the Visual Studio. Oh yeah, there you go. So this is my Visual Code, VS Code. All right. So you remember this GitHub video folder that I created on desktop. So creating folders on desktop is not a healthy practice. We are developers, not operators. Or basically anybody who knows how to use the system efficiently would not create many folders on the desktop. It is not an optimized fashion of keeping your desktop. I mean, because then your desktop is full and then it occupies a lot of memory which can be utilized for some other purpose. So for now I have already created this GitHub video folder. I'm going to go and open that folder in my VS Code, right? This is my desktop and GitHub video, and this is the folder. I click on open. Well, just so you guys know, if you're using Windows, then obviously the UI is very different. I'm using Mac, and so this will be very easy for all those people who are using Mac. But if it is Windows, then I might as well record some other session some other day, so that you have copy to copy. You have the complete visibility on how to go about doing this entire exercise on Windows. And when I clicked on get a video, as I need to create two files. One is index.html, and that's my HTML file, and this is my boilerplate code. So there you go. HTML, when you do an exclamation mark and press enter, HTML automatically gives you a boilerplate code to start with. You can go ahead and design it at a later stage, but for now just keep it this way. And then obviously we would need HTML and CSS, so I would key in style.css, and there you go. So you have style.css and you've got HTML. Now let me make my screen bigger. So now you see that there's this one that gets displayed towards the left hand side. So every time you click on the HTML page or you go and do anything on the CSS, there's this black dot that appears. The moment that black dot appears on the left hand side under this menu bar, you will see that there is one, or there could be two, and if you have more than two files, then obviously you will have more than two files, more than one and two, you will have those counts here. So what it means is that there has been a recent change, or there's a new addition, or there's a new thing that has come into your code, and thereby it is prompting you to save the code first. That's the idea of it. So you go ahead and press a Command S in your Windows. It could be Control Save, so Control S, and if it is Mac, then Command S. And as you see, I've saved the code. Now that one has disappeared. So what are we trying to do here? What are we trying to achieve? So what we're trying to achieve is we're trying to learn how to optimize our GitHub repository, how to maintain a repository, how to create a repository, and then most importantly, how to go about writing the code and updating that code in real time onto the repo. Because if you're working in a collaborative fashion, wherein you're working on one module, the rest of the people are working on a couple of other modules, then it gives you visibility into who is doing what. And in an agile environment, it is very, very useful. And that is the whole idea of GitHub. So let's get started very quickly. So how I go about doing this is, first and foremost, I go to my Visual Studio and I need to initiate my bash, which is my terminal. So what I do is Control tilde. So when I press on Control tilde, it automatically initiates my terminal. So bash is one of the terminals, especially used for VS Code. So it is initiated now. Now let's go back to our page here and then look at this code. What it says is, create a new repository on the recommend line. All you need to do at this stage is, first and foremost, copy this. And just one click is more than enough. You don't have to click on multiple occasions. When you click it once, it copies, and then you just paste it. If you press enter now, okay, and here, as you can see, the 2 has been highlighted, which basically means that there are 2 pending changes. Obviously, the changes will be pending at this stage because we are trying to just initiate it. Let's review the code. What does this mean? Git init. Git init is to initialize the Git. Git add README.MD. README is a file that gets created because if anybody is looking at your repository, then when they click on README, they will get to know about what that project is all about. So it gives a gist about the whole project. And then Git Commit M, first commit, that is basically the command which adds a comment against the first commit that you do. And Git branch is obviously main. You could probably have the child branch as well, but main branch is what we are going to do today. So we will only talk about that. And then once the branch, once you push the code to your computer, then that has to be pushed onto the cloud, onto GitHub. So git push /u origin main, and then automatically it gets onto GitHub. So let's just see. So I copied it, and now let me go back to my GitHub recording repository. This is the original repository that I had. So let me go back to tunnel view. In tunnel view, let me look at all the repositories that I have. And here's my GitHub recording. So I'm going to click on GitHub recording. So I clicked on GitHub recording, and this is how it looks like at the moment. I copied the code, and then if you want to do it again, you can do it. Just say enter. The moment you enter, you will see that there's this hyperlink that is highlighted here. You say follow the link. There you go. It'll take you to that page. And as you can see, under tunnel view, GitHub recording, there's a README file that has been created at the moment. So what that command basically does for you, all these lines copied right from the beginning till the end here, what it does is it initiates and then it creates the README file onto GitHub. That's all what it does. Okay? And then once you start your coding, you could probably go ahead and make more changes. So let's have a look into that. What I'm going to do right now is I will say ls, or I will say, so list. So what are the files that, so list all the files that are created. So as you can see, the readme.md is created, index.html is created, style.css is created, Okay. Now, let me use another command that says Git Status. So when I click on when I do Git Status, it shows on branch main, on your main branch. Untracked files are index.html.
It's 3 o'clock.
Sorry about that. That's my computer's clock. So I've got index.html and then I've got style.css. And it shows in red. That basically means that these files first need to be added to your main branch. So how do we go about adding these to your main branch? Git add m. Oh no, git add, sorry about that, that's just git add and a full stop, like space and full stop. So now I did git add space full stop, and with that command, what I should see is when I do my git status, these two files should appear in green. That is how I get to know that these two files have been added to the main branch. So let's just do a git status once again. There you go. So now you have these two files in green, which basically means that git add space dot or git add space full stop is a command that adds these files to your main branch. Now, what is the next step? Next is to commit the changes along with a comment. So git commit -m. Here, I want to lay a little bit emphasis on a concept called imperative mood. Please understand, GitHub is not, technically speaking, it cannot be defined as a place where you upload and download files. Okay, so neither commit means to upload and clone means to download. That's not the right thing, or that's not how it is defined. Commit is primarily a point in time that you want to remember as to when you made a particular change. That is one. Another concept is a concept of imperative mood. So whatever you want to write, you have to imagine that as a command or request. So try and add another statement, which is this commit will, and then you write the sentence after that. This change will add, remove, or whatever. If you want, we could probably have a look at the definition of imperative mood, because people write all sorts of comments. Some people write comments like removing the README file, attaching attaching the additional code. There's absolutely no rhyme or reason as to what exactly are they doing with that particular commit. And the whole point of GitHub is, or the whole point of committing on GitHub is to document or is to make a note of that particular instance of committing. So here, imperative mood is a grammatical mood that forms a command or request, right? So for example, an example of a verb used in imperative mood is the English phrase go. The top-rated, and then this is what imperative mood is. You can research and you can do whatever research you want to do about how to go about writing that one line. But my job was to just sensitize you about imperative mood. I've done that. This is what the best practices say. So if you want to follow the best practices, and make sure that your code is being noticed and your code is valued as a clean and easy to understand code, then GitHub and GitHub commenting will definitely play a vital role. Uh, so that's pretty much what it is. So now what I did, or what I'm going to write here for now, is git commit. As my files are added, this commit will add, or I could just put it down as initial commit, because I haven't added anything, I haven't removed anything. So a normal commit, like an initial commit or the statement initial commit, is more than enough. If you say, well, there has to be an imperative mood and you spoke about it, so what happened to that? Well, in that case, you could just simply say add index.html and style.css to repo. There you go. And when you begin a statement, you could probably begin a statement with a capital letter. That's the only thing that I see that can be changed in this. Now, let me just commit that. As soon as I commit it, you can see 2 files changed, 10 insertions, create mode so and so, and that 2 that you had here on source control, if you rewind the recording, you'll be able to see it has disappeared now. So now these 2 files have been added to the main branch. Now what we need to do is we need to push these 2 files to the remote, which is GitHub. So how do we go about it? Git push u origin main. There you go. When you do it, now you should be able to see these 2 files along with the comments on GitHub. If you're doing a subsequent push, then you don't have to write the whole command, which is git push underscore u origin main. You could just simply write git push, and that file will be pushed onto the GitHub repo. So let's go back to our repo and have a look at what has happened here. I'm sure there's a lot of action that has happened here. Okay, repository. Let me come back, GitHub recording. And there you go, people. That's your README, which is the first commit. And index.html and style.css has been added, which is add index.html and style.css to repo. If you remember, this was the comment that I mentioned that I wrote initial commit and then I changed it to add index.html and css to repo. Now, let's go back here, and just a very quickly, another thing that you might want to keep in mind or remember while coding is, if you just pick up a code from, let's say, an external source or anywhere else, maybe an open source or whatever, and clone that entire code and then do git push, your code will appear onto the repository that you want to push the code to. But people, the recruiters or the people who are into coding, want to see your progression. Progression can only be seen if you do it step by step. So for every change you make, if there is a track, then it gives you more credibility that you have been creating or you wrote this program, as compared to just copying and compiling and then cutting and pasting it to and that doesn't really add value to your profile. So let's have a look at index.html. So this is actually the code. I will go back here, and here you'll be able to see line by line. So if I make a change here, you will be able to see the change. For example, if I was doing script, or if I just write down script here, there you go. additional changes come up. So we do the same exercise once again. So we do git status. Git status will show if there is any change whatsoever. Right now it is, let's do a git status once again because I saved the file right now. This modified index.html is in red. I say git add space dot. This particular file should appear in green now when I do git status. Don't have to write, you can just do an up arrow and the previous command will be taken. But I am just fond of typing, that's why I'm going ahead and just typing it. There you go, this has appeared in green now. So what I need to do is I need to push it to the main branch. How do? I do git commit and m space, this commit will add script or script to index.html, or just say to HTML. That's it. Keep it short and simple. Press enter, git push. Because it's a subsequent push, you don't have to write the whole command again. Just do git push, and there you go. This will be pushed. Go back to your repo, refresh it, and you should be able to see the change. Tunnel view, repository, GitHub recording, and index.html, add script to HTML, and here it is highlighted in green, and that's the change that I have made. So the actual coders and people who do authentic work will start committing right from the scratch, because that shows the step-by-step progression as to what led to the result. So that's pretty much what I had for you guys today. If you like the video, then please subscribe or give me a thumbs up. If there's anything I can improve, please let me know, and I will continue to put my efforts into making it better for you all. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed and it is useful. I use it all the time, so thanks much.